All right, I hope everyone is doing well as we approach April the 1st, 2020. Of course, the first quarter of the year in the books. I'm Matt Levine. Thank you for joining me here on 954sports.com and the YouTube channel for 954 Sports. I hope, again, you're all hanging in there, keeping those hands washed, staying safe, staying sound. And what has been just an unbelievable month in time. In 2020 and March. My birthday is on the 5th of March. I've always associated my birthday with a pretty good month, including that in the world of sports where you get the March Madness. You get the Major League Baseball kicking up. Of course, you get the NBA and NHL. They start to kick things into high gear, get ready for the playoffs. You even have the prelude to one of the biggest events in the NFL. Of course, it's off the field in the NFL draft. We had the free agency, but you just start getting amped up for all the NFL stuff, which is kind of like a side dish because a lot of it goes on virtually, right? Off the field, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Things really kick off in March. And they give us a chance to celebrate all that is great in the world of sports, and that carries over into April with some of the sports I've mentioned. April, you get the Masters, and then it spills over to May where you get the Kentucky Derby. And then it seems like the world of sports just kicks into high gear when you hit the halfway point in June into the summer, right? And all that gets started in the third month of the season of March, which is now history. Now, normally, I love this day, April 1st. Why? Because I'm like that guy right there. I'm an April Fool. Nothing beats a great April Fool's prank. Now, in a, quote, normal world, there'd be pranks galore. In today's world, this April 1st of 2020, I think a lot of the jokes will be put to the side. And that is sad in itself. I want to see that guy again. I like him. That dude right there. As silly as I am on a normal, again, April Fool's Day. Hopefully, April Fool's 2021 will go off without a hitch. And we can save all the pranks that we had planned for 2020 for 2021. And it will be a super duper April's Fool's Day. Now, what I thought I'd do, since there's no sports to report on the field, of course, very little off the field. We had that flurry of activity in the NFL when the season started, their calendar season on March 8th. All the free agents being doled out, of course, led by Tom Brady, who's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. It's not the end of the world, but I never saw that one coming, really didn't. I thought he'd stay with the Patriots. As I mentioned, there's a video up here. It's a picture of Brady kind of occupying the Bucs logo. You can check out the video. I said basically I thought he'd be a Patriot or a Tennessee Titan. A Buccaneer, go figure. But that pretty much highlighted the month of March because of COVID-19, coronavirus, right? Essentially putting an end to the world of sports indefinitely. And we hope that indefinite end to the world of sports is not too long. I hope the pause button gets hit and we hit it back on play and we continue into full swing. So with that said, what I thought I'd do is just kind of go over this day in sports history. I was thinking about it. Just thought to myself, I wonder what has gone on throughout the last century or so in the world of sports on April 1st as we hit April 1st, 2020. I can't help it. I just like this guy. One more time. That dude's great. All right, let's get rid of him. Okay, so the crack research staff, which consists of, or more like, if you can see my finger, you get my drift, right? Yours truly went hard behind the scenes to find out. And isn't this interesting? Take a look at this. This is the Stanley Cup from the year 1919. Montreal Canadiens, Seattle Metropolitans. Yes, Seattle had a hockey team. I didn't even know that till I did the research. And then I thought to myself, poor Seattle, right? Getting whacked by this COVID-19. What a great city. They should have a hockey team. And I thought, they used to have a basketball team, the Supersonics, which are now the Oklahoma City Thunder. I know they have their beloved Seahawks, the Mariners. They should have an NHL and NBA team again. Anyway, that is 1990. No, I'm sorry, 1919. The Stanley Cup Finals. There you see, Seattle and Montreal, the Canadiens, still in existence, of course. Series not completed, right? Take another look at it. They tied the series 2-2-1. Why? Go figure. The Spanish flu epidemic. So, more some things changed, more some things stay the same. Isn't that something? And what a series that was. In fact, the tied game in that series was game 4. 0-0 they played in double overtime. Every other game was high scoring. It was 7-4, I think a 6-4, like a 5-3. Seemed to be a great series. Just fascinating there. So that was 1919. Let's move the time machine forward. 1938. This dude right here, they called him the Brown Bomber. Joe Louis died at the age of 66 in 1981. Held the longest tenure of any heavyweight champion, 37-49. In 38, became the world heavyweight champion, knocking out Henry Thomas right there in the 5th round. One of the top 100 boxers ever. One of the top heavyweights ever. There you have it, Joe Louis. Missed the days when they were great heavyweight boxers. And there were these things called rivalries. No more, right? With what's his face, Wilder and the other dude. I already forgot his name, from Britain. Slips my mind. Whatever. Is that great heavyweight boxing? Is that a great rivalry? No. But that's what you've got. But you remember the days, right? I kind of sort of do. At least the history books. I'm not that old. Ali Frazier. Do you remember Spinks Holmes? Then I remember this dude, Tyson. No rival for him. He just kicked everyone's ass. Those Mike Tyson fights, they were something else. You gear up for them, late 80s, mid 80s. Gear up, you get a bunch of people together, pool in the money, and you'd watch 30 seconds of pay-per-view. Why? Because that's how long every Tyson knockout took. If within a round. It was just an amazing phenomenon to see the youngest heavyweight champion at the time, Mike Tyson, take center stage. But again, it was Joe Louis that paved the way for some of these great champions. And what a great champion he was, as I show you what happened on April 1st, 1938. Let's jump way ahead. Major League Baseball has had a couple strikes, right, in their time. In 1972, Cincinnati Post, no hope is held for Reds opener. How true that was. The first strike in Major League Baseball happened. No Reds, no baseball, anywhere. Players would strike, eventually agreeing to a $500,000 increase in pension funds. Lasted till April 13th. A $500,000 increase. That's probably what Mike Trout gets per inning. Something like that, right? Or any of the other high-paid guys out there. Harper, Manny Machado, I mean, you look at the pitchers, Cole Hamels. 500 grand is probably a 5 2/3 of an inning start for a dude like Hamels. I cannot wait to see him throw for the Yankees eventually. Eventually. Anyway, let's move on. The fourth moment I have in these handful of great moments that took place on this here April Fool's Day, April 1st in the history of sports, was attributed to this guy. If you're a hockey fan, you know him well. Mike Bossy, 1978 on April 1st. First NHL rookie to score 50 goals. What a great hockey player. Part of 4 straight championship teams, 79 through 83. Bossy was fantastic. In 10 seasons, you see some of the retro Isles highlights right there. 573 goals, 553 assists. Only played 752 games in those 10 seasons. He had to retire in 88 because of a bad back. One of 5 players to score 50 goals in 50 games. Great, great hockey player. Think of what he would have done if he would have played another 7, 8 seasons, was healthy. I grew up in the New York City area as a kid. And I remember those Islander teams because that's all they talked about, right? The Islanders. They were awesome. They were awesome. And they were led by Mike Bossy. Well, hockey note. You miss your hockey? I bet you do. You miss your basketball? Yes. You miss your baseball? It really started hitting me today. Really did. Even shout out a text to my brother. I said, you know, I miss the March Madness and I miss the Major League Baseball. I miss a lot of things right now. No kidding, right? But man, I miss my sports. Anyway, let's continue on. Talk about some things that went on this April Fool's Day. If you're gonna be a prankster, you're gonna play a joke. You know, be sensitive. Be sensitive. I mean, a good joke, you know, goes a long way. You need levity. You need laughter. You need a smile. What do they say? Laughter is the best medicine. I'm a believer in that. You know, you got to be a joker, right? Once in a while. But again, be sensitive. Anyway, 1985. I remember just starting to get into the March Madness. And I remember this. The Villanova Wildcats, led by Coach Rollie Massimino, became the lowest seed to ever win an NCAA championship as an 8th seed. You have it, their star player, Ed Pinckney. They took out the Georgetown Hoyas, 66-64, with Coach Rollie in the NCAA championship men's basketball game. Villanova, with the 2-point win over Georgetown, would knock off the number 1 overall seed, Georgetown, and on the magic carpet ride they took through March, get this, they would knock off a 9 seed, another number 1 in Michigan, then a 4 seed, 2 seed, and eventually, as I said, Georgetown, the top overall seed. One of the great, if not the best underdog Cinderella run in NCAA men's basketball history. Special team celebrated at Villanova and for the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Pats, Geno's, either or, I'll take it. Love those cheesesteaks. Only in Philadelphia. I'm not a big cheesesteak guy, but when you go to Philadelphia, right, you got to go to Pat's, you got to go to Geno's or one of the other local places. And at least save enough room where you can do half a sandwich at one place, half at the other. I love Philadelphia. Great city. I've had nothing but great memories in Philadelphia. Great city to go visit, of course, when the weather's warm. I checked out the new Philadelphia, well, it's not that new. about 15, 20 years old probably now. The Citizens Bank Ballpark, I want to say, the new Philly Stadium, better than the old dump. And the Eagle Stadium's adjacent, right next door. A football or a baseball's throw away, it seems. Great facilities, great ballpark, great city, a lot of history. When the world gets back to normal and you can make travel plans, I'm giving you a recommendation to go check out Philly, PA. I love it. And again, they love that 1985 Villanova squad for good reason. 1999, a big year for sports accomplishments on the hard court on April 1st. Start with this guy. Look familiar? Another legend in his own right, Larry Brown. Love Larry Brown. A great basketball coach. Won his 900th pro game on April 1st for the Philadelphia 76ers over the Miami Heat. Brown coached 14 different teams between the pros, college, even coached a year in 2018 in Italy. Over 1,300 wins as a pro coach, another 266 as a college coach, won national championship at Kansas, won an NBA championship at the Detroit Pistons. Great coach. Great basketball mind. I have to say, as a Knicks fan, disappointing tenure as the Knicks coach. Just didn't work out for the New York City boys. Speaking of the 2004 World Championship Pistons and Larry Brown, how about the general manager, this guy right here, of that championship team? Before that, he was a championship player with the Bad Boys and becoming a Pistons legend on the hard court. And in 1999, on April 1st, became the 10th player in league history, that April 1st, Joe Dumars right there, to play 1,000 games with one NBA squad. Became one of 8 players to do it with just one team. You know, as great as he was, his prowess for scoring, Joe Dumars, he averaged 16 points over 14 seasons to go along with about 5 assists, a steal a game. As great a scorer he was, I mean, he took the 1989 Finals MVP, took home the hardware. You see him being honored there by just being a great, great basketball scorer, clutch guy, back-to-back finals in the late 80s, early 90s for the Pistons. Mr. Clutch. One of the great all-time legendary Motown scorers and players for the Pistons. But what I was going to get to, the point is, for as prolific a scorer as Joe Dumars was, and a consummate professional and fundamental basketball player, and he could play the point, play the shooting guard. I mean, they had Isaiah. He could do it all. But what I liked best about Joe Dumars was his ability to play defense on the greatest player ever, Michael Jordan. Remember the Jordan rules, right? When the Pistons and the Bad Boys dominated Jordan and the Bulls for a little bit, before the Bulls got their dynasty together and then overtook the Pistons as the kings of the mountain in the 90s. It was Dumars that put the clamps on Jordan. Jordan became a champion after those Pistons bruised and battered him a little bit. In other words, he paid his dues. And Joe Dumars was a big part of that. Big part of that, I think, in Michael Jordan's education of becoming a great player in the NBA to becoming a elite player and an elite champion. I'd like to thank the challenge that Joe Dumars presented, leading the Pistons' charge against his Earnest, had a lot to do with that. So there you have it. A couple of hoop legends honored on April 1st in 1999 for their well-deserved accomplishments. And finally, let's wrap it up with this. I have to do it, right? I mean, I am a Yankees fan. 2008, Yankees won their 11th straight home game, a Major League Baseball record. 11th straight, home opener. Home opener. 3-2 over the moments. And a lot of great moments on April 1st in the history of sports. So, we can harken back on the past. You know, by default, you're sort of forced to do that. It's kind of a cool exercise. You go through things like this day in sports history, and you start seeing people and Mike Bossies and the Larry Browns, and, you know, these great athletes, and you recognize their accomplishments, and it's cool to see what went on April 1st. But you want to make new history. I was looking forward to what was going to go on April 1st in 2020, but hey, it's on the back burner. Sports will come back eventually. They will. It started starting to hit me, though, as to when and if we'll get Major League Baseball. If we'll get an NBA season, I doubt it. You know, I saw the one of the I don't know anything about European soccer. I know nothing. Zilch, or football, or any football for that matter. I can't even pretend like I know anything about it. But I just saw one of the championship leagues in Europe was thinking about doing like a World Cup style final or an Olympics type final. And I had mentioned this before as possibly an idea for the NBA, where you get all the teams and they play a championship style tournament, and they're housed, you know, in one area, contained in like a village. And I had mentioned it, you know, that's what they do with all these respective conference tournaments. I remember going to the MAC tournament for college basketball a couple of years. When I got out of college, I was interning for a cable TV channel back north. And I got to go to the Pepsi Arena. I think it was 2 years in a row I did it, up in Albany, New York. And you see the MAC conference, which is a very reputable D1 conference, if you're not familiar with them, okay? Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. And they just take over Albany. And that's what these conference tournaments do, right? Pockets of America. You take over a city, all the teams are housed in one area, they play different times on the same court. I can see, you know, that's what they're talking about with this championship league in Europe and doing. I could see maybe the NBA doing that if we can progress to the point where the COVID-19 virus is slowed down enough where you can have these players and everyone's healthy enough. Maybe go to one central area and they do some sort of tournament. I don't know. It's just an idea. But you think about it, the NBA playoffs, they go on forever, right? Each round drawn out by 7 games. So I don't know if it's a doable idea. You know, the NBA will soon come up on that 30-day kind of wait and see. Temporary policy they've adopted with COVID-19. They're going to have to make a decision soon. What a disappointing state of times we're at where the NBA might have to do that, but they do. Major League Baseball will come to that road. And I'm hoping the NFL may get the all clear. We get football, but it's going to be hard to do. It really is. So with that said, you know, you keep your fingers crossed. We get our sports back in one way or another, even in small doses, where we're finally talking about what goes on the field. That would be a good sign. Once sports is back, that means we've overcome this pandemic and we're getting back to life as close as we can to normal. What's normal? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. So I hope you enjoyed it. It is April Fool's Day. Like I said, if you're going to pull the prank, make it a good one. Be sensitive, you know. Can't not tell you not to make a joke on April Fool's Day or pull a prank. I mean, it's April Fool's Day, but tread lightly. That's what I can say. Anyway, thanks for joining me here on the 954sports.com YouTube channel. I'm Matt Levine. I'm going to say so long. And America, please Wash those hands. Be safe, everyone. Have a great night. I'll catch you later on, right here on the 954sports.com YouTube channel. Adios.